York, and Kelsey Plum blows the lid off the joint, letting us all in on a small secret. Team Clark, they had no idea what was awaiting them walking into that locker room come WNBA All-Star.
Kelsey, ChatGPT said, but don't think for a second that Caitlin Clark just sat back and let the disrespect slide. Oh no. The Queen had a response, locked and loaded. After Kelsey Plum posted a series of Instagram photos from All-Star Weekend, including one where she posed in front of a giant Nike logo. Despite being sponsored by Under Armour, Clark dropped a 6-word mic drop in the comments. Thank you for the Nike ad. The brilliance of that clapback cannot be overstated. It was sharp, strategic, and effortlessly savage. On the surface, it looked playful. But underneath, it exposed the blatant hypocrisy. Plum throwing shade at Clark while unintentionally promoting her rival's actual sponsor. That level of composure and calculated response, it's what separates Clark from the noise. She's not just playing the game on the court, she's outmaneuvering her critics off it too. I mean, this isn't some isolated moment of drama. There's a clear, troubling pattern. WNBA players going out of their way to diminish Clark's contributions to the league. Despite being the face of a historic surge in ratings, attendance, merchandise sales, and national relevance, Clark continues to be the target of unnecessary criticism and petty digs from the very people benefiting the most from her impact. Here's the irony that no one seems to want to say out loud. These are the same players pushing for higher salaries and better treatment through collective bargaining, yet some can't resist taking aim at the one player whose presence is literally making those demands more realistic. Clark's games bring in the viewers that secure national TV deals. Her star power fills arenas. Her name moves merch at a rate the league has never seen. Caitlin Clark is not just a rookie phenom. She's the economic engine of the WNBA, right? Now, and the fact that she's still handling all this with grace, strategy, and a little side-eye brilliance, that's what makes her elite on every level.
We didn't, at least as players, we didn't know that that was going to happen. So I think it was kind of like a genuine surprise. But the T-shirt, just United front, was determined this morning that we had a meeting for, and not to tattletale, but 0 members of Team Clark were.
ChatGPT said. Meanwhile, when Caitlin Clark does play, the numbers go through the roof. Her return game against the Liberty pulled in 2.2 million viewers on ABC, peaking at 2.8 million. Let that sink in. Games featuring Clark consistently rank as the highest-rated WNBA broadcasts ever. She's not just drawing eyes, she's printing money for the entire league. And that's exactly where Sabrina Ionescu showed why she commands so much respect across the basketball world. She didn't let Plum's petty jab slide, she checked her in real time with a perfectly timed, razor-sharp, sarcastic response. But Sabrina's support for Clark goes way deeper than just a press conference moment. When Clark was sidelined with a quad injury, Ionescu was one of the few veterans who stepped up behind the scenes, offering advice based on her own experience with soft tissue setbacks. While Plum was lobbing unprovoked shade in front of cameras, Ionescu was doing the work building up the game, lifting her peers and proving she understands the bigger picture. Clark's success doesn't just elevate the Indiana Fever, it raises the bar for the entire WNBA, and Sabrina gets that.
See, Plum was at the All-Star game in Indianapolis. She made quite a scene, bruh. This time, at the conclusion of the game, I was one of the first people to break the story about her actually making comments about Caitlin Clark's team not being at this meeting for the CBA negotiations. Now, we know the WNBA All-Stars came out with these T-shirts. Pay us what
WNBA said. Think about that for a second. The get-in price for the WNBA All-Star Game held in the home city of the league's most popular player plummeted by nearly 50% the moment Caitlin Clark was ruled out. Some tickets on resale sites were going for as low as $60. Fans weren't just hesitant. They were desperate to unload tickets at any price just to cut their losses. But it doesn't stop there. The WNBA's TV ratings paint an even more brutal picture. When Caitlin Clark doesn't play, nationally televised WNBA games see viewership drop by a staggering 55%. Her own team's games without her, down 53%. falling from an average of 1.81 million viewers to just 847,000. These aren't minor fluctuations. This is a seismic shift in engagement. Let's be clear, this isn't just about one player being popular. This is proof that Caitlin Clark isn't just part of the WNBA right now. She is the WNBA.
Boone McKay, Women's National Basketball Players Association President. Brianna Stewart, Vice President. And Nafisa Collier. All on opposing teams from Team Clark. How does it work out that the three biggest players in the Players Association had an idea about wearing a Pay Us What You Owe Us t-shirt, make this decision last minute that this is what the players will do? Team Clark somehow isn't present in the meeting.
ChatGPT said, "If you're enjoying this breakdown, make sure to subscribe." Now, let's get into it because the tension in that room, palpable. Sabrina Ionescu's expression said it all. This wasn't just awkward, it was completely out of line. Here's a veteran taking shots at teammates who weren't even present to respond while supposedly championing unity. The irony couldn't be more glaring. And if you're wondering why Plum's comments were so off base, let's talk numbers. When Caitlin Clark was ruled out of the All-Star game with a groin injury, ticket prices didn't just dip, they know. We're talking a 48% drop in less than 24 hours, from $121 down to $64 for the cheapest seats. That's not a subtle shift. That's a full-blown demand collapse, all because one player wasn't on the court. That's the kind of impact Clark has. And that's exactly why these petty jabs don't just look bad, they look desperate.
It was kind of like a genuine surprise, but the t-shirt, just United front, was determined this morning, that we had a meeting for. And, not to tattletale, but 0 members of Team Clark were very present for that. But no, we were just, we had a very, that really needed to be mentioned. I'm trying to make a situation.
But here's what makes this even more outrageous. Sabrina. Ionescu was sitting right there within arm's reach representing Team Clark herself. The disrespect was so blatant, so out of pocket that Ionescu didn't even try to hide her reaction. She shot Plum a look of pure disbelief, rolled her eyes, and fired back with the most sarcastic response imaginable. It was a moment that absolutely needed to be called out.
These WNBA players, they get more unlikable every day. And the blatant jealousy, the blatant hatred towards Caitlin Clark is, it's obvious. They don't even try to hide it. We got Kelsey Plum talking about these pathetic shirts that they wore out onto the court. And I'm going to tell you, these players all put these shirts on. And like I said in a couple of previous videos, that backfired.
ChatGPT said, during the post-game press conference, Plum began by explaining the morning meeting where players had agreed to wear the Unity shirts, a powerful show of collective strength. But then she veered completely off script and dropped a bombshell, not to tattle, but 0 members of Team Clark were very present for that. The room went instantly silent. You could feel the tension through the screen. What was meant to be a moment of unity had just turned into a public call-out. That stunned everyone watching.
No, Caitlin Clark, she was officially ruled out before all of these things. And look at the news that dropped. This is wild. WNBA All-Star Weekend. It's supposed to be the star of all stars. All the big dogs is out. Asia Wilson, Sabrina Ionescu, Brianna Stewart, everybody's out. The big dogs are out. You got the rookie, you got Angel Reese, Miss Me Too. All of the stars are here. And look at this news. The get-in price for the WNBA All-Star Game in Indianapolis has dropped 48% from $121 to just $64 after news broke that Caitlin Clark won't be.
Ask ChatGPT that WNBA players had just delivered a bold statement with their Pay Us What You Owe Us shirt demonstration, a unified stand for fair pay and progress in collective bargaining. It was meant to showcase league-wide solidarity. Instead, Kelsey Plum derailed the moment, turning it into a petty drama that laid bare the deeper issue, how some veterans still can't seem to handle the spotlight shining on the league's biggest star.